Welcome to GetItOnVinyl.com. Tonight, we have a very special exclusive interview with October Fresh Wax artist, the Dollyrots. For more than a decade, the Dollyrots have been producing their own breakthrough style of pop-punk music. Even after 4 albums, several EPs, and hundreds of thousands of miles of touring, the band shows no signs of slowing down. Backed by a record-setting Kickstarter campaign, the band has recently released their self-titled 4th album on their own Arrested Youth Records. Tell us, how was the tour?
It was awesome.
It was amazing. It was amazing. We hadn't been out in like a year, so I think that it was the sort of thing where we used to do the loop around the U.S. over and over and over again, and I think it was just good to take a little break and take a step back and come back kind of as a better band.
Yeah.
But it was great. We got to like see everybody, and our fan base is really tight and close knit. So getting to like hang out with kind of people we consider our friends was was really cool.
Good. Especially after doing Kickstarter, we had a lot of people show up in like their Kickstarter shirts, and so it was kind of like a little club. It was really, really cool.
That's cool. Speaking of Kickstarter, our next question is, you decided to use that to fund the recording of your album. How did you come to that decision?
Well,
I think we just we did the label thing a couple times. Like our first record came out on Lookout, and then we had 2 records come out on Blackheart. And those were good experiences for what they were. They kind of it showed us, it taught us a lot in terms of like what it takes to be a band, like a touring band on an indie level and all that.
And how labels work, and what different pieces are necessary. And I guess just after doing it for almost 10 years, we just felt like we probably had like enough of a fan base to help out with the cost of recording, and we knew exactly how we wanted to do it and who we wanted to work with, and I feel like at this point in our career we have a really good idea of who we are, and we don't really want a lot of outside influence.
Yeah.
So
like not having like the pressure. I mean, even if you're on a small label, there's still pressure to like have a single, or to like try to please someone else. We wanted to have the freedom to just please our fans. And we've always been really involved with like the business of being a band. It's never been like we don't have like some like management company or some like promotion company telling us what to do. Like,
it's always just been the 2 of us.
It's never been like that. So it was a natural thing. I think it ended up being the right thing to do.
All right. Well, could you tell us a little bit about this recording process and how it compared to your previous albums?
Well, we definitely demoed a lot more than we ever had before. Like we started out with so many songs to pick from.
Yeah, we wrote like 35 songs for this record.
Yeah.
So we have another record. Yeah. This one was different because I think like over time, me and Kelly have just gotten like, as in with like everything else related to the band, we've just gotten more into like recording at home and like learning how to get like decent sounding demos and stuff done
with really cheap, crappy stuff.
Yeah, because it doesn't like the kind of gear you have doesn't really matter as much as like just trusting your ears and stuff. And I think you just kind of develop a taste for what sounds good and what doesn't. So
to be honest, Lewis has gotten really good at recording stuff. I've
gotten better. Like, just like having a good sounding demo is so important now because like recording gear is so accessible to people.
Yeah.
And it's something that as a person in a band you should be able to do on your own. It just like gives you so much freedom. So I just set up templates for all the songs, and then that's where that was the starting point.
With your Kickstarter campaign being so successful and I mean reaching your goals so quickly, and of course above and beyond that, do you plan on doing the same for your next album?
Yeah, I think so. As much as it was really, really hard, it was really, really worth it. Yeah. I think it brought us so much closer to our fan base, and I think it brought them closer to each other too, because it's like a fan club, like old school style, except you know, they're helping us make the record, and it was really, really cool. It was an incredible amount of busy work.
Well, yeah, because like we tried to be creative with Kickstarter, you know, like if we do it again, I think we're gonna try to streamline like the packages that people can get and stuff like that, because you know
my apartment turned into a warehouse for months, like months.
We had 500 people back us, right, which was, you know, amazing. Like that, like 500 fans are like hardcore enough to be like basically like buying your record before you record it, right? So that was cool. But then, you know, that means there's 500 packages to mail out.
And then people got vinyl, which adds
like,
that.
You know, and then like hundreds of shirts.
I had to bake 40 dozen cookies.
Yeah.
Like, they were
one of the things had like locks of Kelly's hair.
Locks of I had to wait to get like more.
Yeah, she had to send out like 40 like locks of hair. It was crazy.
You can start saving them now for the next campaign. Yes.
It's funny, like I cleaned out my closet the other day because we got home from tour, and I was like, too much crap. I have too much crap, and so I was cleaning out my closet. And I was like, ooh, I'll keep that for the next Kickstarter thing. And give it to Goodwill. But, yeah, so funny.
It was hard giving away some of that stuff too, because we were all motivated, and it was like, well, I'll just give away a guitar, you know, and
dang it.
Yeah. But it's cool. I met the guy that got the guitar on tour in Minneapolis, and you know, I feel better about it now because I know it has a good home.
Yeah.
But I think we'll do something like that again. You know, it ended up being a lot of work, but it was amazing, and I think that it made us feel like we had to make a better record.
Yeah,
you know?
We owed it to so many people.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just us that would be disappointed if it sucked.
Yeah.
It was all of them.
Like if we like sent them something that sucked, like they'd be so mad at us, and that's like our best fans.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, so it made us do better, I think.
So we've noticed that you guys have always made a point of releasing your albums on vinyl. Is that a personal choice or just something that the labels have insisted upon?
We've actually insisted upon it, and it's been tricky. Like, because I'm awesome, still not on vinyl. That's been up to us. That's been pretty much like every time we've had a vinyl release, it was our idea. Like, I can say that like straight up. But we had our first record deal was actually with Dionysus for vinyl of Eat My Heart Out before we had the Lookout deal. Mm-hmm. And so, like, that was always something we thought was important because we like to make albums that you listen to and, you know, just
like have a sequence. Yeah. Like, you think of
an entirety. Yeah.
It should have like an A side and a B side, and like the end of the A side should be the end of the A side, and then the beginning of the B side should sound like the beginning of the B side. Yeah. And we believe in the album format. Like, it kind of makes us like dinosaurs or something.
No, that's what we're all about. Yeah. So.
But it's important. We put a lot of thought into all of that, and so. Yeah. And the two of us grew up listening to vinyl. Our parents had a lot of vinyl, and like I grew up like with the Four Seasons records, and I would plug in headphones to there was a mic jack on their old stereo, and I would sing into one headphone because it worked as a microphone. So I've always listened to vinyl. So
can you tell us a little bit about the cover art, who did it, and anything about that? Did you choose from different styles? Or?
Yeah, that was another thing. Like, basically for this record, since we were on our own, like the producer, John Fields, he did our first two records. We love him. He's an awesome producer. Yeah. The artist is this guy, Kai Ahrens, and they're both actually from Minneapolis, and they both know. This is like the second time Minneapolis came up, which is weird. Yeah, Minneapolis. But John knows Kai, and Kai, he introduced us to Kai way back like 7 years ago, and we did like a photo shoot with Kai like 7 years ago. And
so we were like, artist, it's gonna be Kai.
Yeah,
so we asked
Kai's amazing. Like, it's just like KaiAhrens.com. He does this awesome stuff.
KII.
Yeah, and yeah, we came up with a concept.
Well, the weirdest thing was that we drew out a couple like ideas for the covers, and one of them was pretty much what it ended up being, but I had it all scribbled out. I think it was like on an envelope or something in our first
like
meeting.
Psychic shit, dude.
And I was like, a couple ideas, and I showed him. He's like, "No, are you kidding me?" And he pulls out like the demo version of what the cover was, and he had already done it, and I had already.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Because the idea was like it's like the album has a bunch of space stuff in it and like end of the world stuff. So we wanted a space thing, and Kelly had drawn this like picture of like a old school like Russian like space module with like
so
a little
weird.
like guy hanging on by his like oxygen line or whatever.
So weird.
And so that was kind of where that came from. It was weird, yeah.
It was so weird.
Neither.
It was like a magic trick where everyone in the room's like, "No, it's."
Or Kai could really take credit for the idea.
So you guys started your own label, Arrested Youth Record, to record this album. Do you plan on releasing other bands through this label, or just your material?
It's I think it's something that we want to do because we meet so many bands on tour that are either just starting out or they like don't really have enough experience to know what the next step should be. You know, we've always kind of lived by the idea that like just do it. You know, like don't wait for somebody to come.
You can't wait for things to be perfect. You can't wait for someone to be like, "Here, why don't you go do this?"
Yeah.
Like you have to just keep plowing ahead in life. Like in anything that we've done as people.
So like if you have a record, if you have a song, just go record it.
Go record it.
And even if it's not like your dream recording, like put it out, you know? Like so I think that our intention with the idea of having a label is to be able to give our friends or like younger bands or bands like that like a platform. And it could be really simple. It could be as simple as like, here, let's do a digital like vinyl 7-inch release, you know?
Yeah.
Or like it doesn't have to be like a full-fledged thing, but just like, you know, I think that
to give like a young band something to sell at shows or to sell online, like
just like have something cool that people can hold and like care about, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, we definitely want to do that.
We want to do so many things.
There are a couple of bands. There are a couple of bands that like, you know, there are like 4 or 5 bands I can think of right now that have amazing songs and have like an amazing drive, but maybe could use that sort of like extra like
guidance or
you
know, even like not that we're like the coolest band in the world, but if like we put some really cool bands all together on this tiny little label, it could become a thing, like in the way that Lookout was to us when we were young.
Yeah, because labels used to matter.
Yeah.
Like
not so much these days. So.
Yeah. It used to like get, you know, like if a band was on Lookout Records, it meant that, you know, you should probably
like,
get.
I like it.
Or if it was on Sub Pop, it was like, oh yeah, we should get that record. You
We're
know?
still big.
As you know, our website is all about promoting independent record stores and physical releases. Do you guys still go to record stores? Where do you purchase your music?
You know, we don't enough because either we are in LA, where really the only independent music store is Amoeba, and Amoeba's great, but it's huge. And other than that, you know, there are a couple. But
the truth is, we don't buy things.
We tend to be
poor.
we tend to be on tour most of the time, honestly, and we have interactions with independent record stores because like we'll get messages and it's like, hey, can you send us like X amount of copies of whatever?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. San Francisco is awesome.
Yeah, there are a few like that, but yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I usually just pick up. I end up getting most of my music from going to shows and meeting bands or playing alongside bands or whatever. And that might be like a really like limited way to, I may be like super limiting my like scope of music.
Well, sadly, people are always, I have like a fantasy football team, and people are always like, how can you like sports? And I'm like, because it has nothing to do with my job. Like, my life and my job is music. And so in my spare time, like, in all honesty, I don't really seek out a lot of new music. I take what like I hear on tour, or like bands we meet, or if people send us emails, like I always listen. But I really like the same music I listened to when I was 17.
Dude, we honestly like,
so bad.
If we play a show, like we'll end up with like, you know, like between, you know, 4 and 10 like CDs, like demos from bands that either have played that night or that we meet at the merch table or something. Mm-hmm. And we spend our time like in between shows listening to all that stuff.
Sure.
All the way through too.
And we do that like throughout the tour, stuff like that. And so then when we get home,
well, they're always like, in the van.
Yeah. And when we get home, it's like the last thing I want to do is like seek out music.
Sure.
Yeah.
Either like blasting my ears out with music, or like live, or you know, listening to like a demo, you know, hundreds of demos or whatever.
One thing we did get this tour, well, we got one cassette, which sadly our new van doesn't have a cassette player.
Dude, they should bring back cassette players.
Postcard size record. Have you seen those yet?
What are they?
It was a postcard size record that you could
Really?
play on paper.
But it was like,
I've heard of them. Yeah, I don't have any. Yeah, I've heard of them though.
It was awesome.
It did not make it home, but it got like hot sauce and burrito on it or something. And, like, I was like, I'm not gonna play that on the record player because it's gonna ruin it.
Yeah, but it was really cool. I looked them up. I couldn't find them.
Really?
But yeah, they make these like promotional postcards that you can play on a turntable.
Yeah.
It's an original promotion idea, that's for sure.
So,
yeah.
Awesome. Actually, we're down to our last question. Is now that the tour is finished, I know you have a show coming up in January, but what's next for the Dollyrots in the immediate future?
We have to record. We aren't finished with Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
we have to record an acoustic album. Like that was one of the things. It was like
we're halfway done.
We're halfway done, but we didn't finish before we left for tour, so we're gonna try and get it done before the end of the year. And it's basically like we asked our fans to like send us like 3 sentences, and we'll write a song based on whatever you want, you know. And so we have to finish that. We just did a Christmas song.
That's what we were doing today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did that because
it's called "'Cause I'm Santa" to the tune of "Because I'm Awesome."
Yeah.
Very good.
It's really funny.
I like it.
You already had it halfway done then, so.
It was easy.
Yeah.
So you're like, shit, it's already December 1st. We're never gonna get a Christmas song out if we don't hurry up. And my sister was like, wait a minute. You could just use "Because I'm Awesome" and change the words. I was like, yes, we're gonna put out our own song for Christmas.
There you go.
So,
we're gonna do that, and we're gonna play dates like starting in January, February. You know, I think you know, we got back, and it's just like, let's focus on finishing all this acoustic stuff, and you know, just kind of like figure stuff out between now and the end of the year. Like to us, like we just did 8 weeks out on the road, so being out over the holidays doesn't make much sense.
Sure.
We're gonna just kind of like record and write and do all that, and then head back out in like late January.
Excellent, cool. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it, and
thank you.
I'm glad we finally got around to doing this.
Deal.
Awesome, dude.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Take care.
Cool, man. You got it.